Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, people from the north, people in the south, west, people in the east, people around the equator, everywhere you are, anywhere you are. I'm back again with another one. Today, it's a good day, it's a beautiful day. Um, my hair is gone, um, my beard is gone, and I'm only left with this one. Um, yeah, so I'm going to continue from where I left off last week, this week, and I'm going to share a little bit of insight around um, how I take my ideas, my innovative ideas, through the process of implementation. And there's a very important information that you have to grasp, important information that that you will learn if you didn't know, and maybe apply in your situation, different situations wherever you are. And I'm going to towards the end share a support site where you can visit for support programs that are available over and above the two that I've already shared. Remember, I shared the Disrupt Africa site. I also shared last week. I shared the Innovation Bridge portal, and this week I'm going to share another one, which you can also take advantage of and apply, and make it the point that your innovative ideas are thriving and are progressing. Because this is a process and you cannot go over the process, you have to go through the process. Now, the ideation process, speaking of which, it's a process where your idea has to go through certain stages, which each stage allows your idea to be explored in a way that you do not jump certain stages, such that you realize when you are at the final stages that you've skipped something from the previous processes, which you will need to go back and redo things. So it's a process that will allow you to make sure that you tick all the boxes that you're supposed to be ticking, and for your idea to progress, or to have a progressive development. So um, firstly, I want to highlight the fact that I came up with my own way myself on how to make sure that my idea goes through the entire process without skipping or without leaving out anything else that I have to make sure that I tick the boxes from. So the first one that I'm going to share with you is the process of research, which we normally call RD&T. So some people call it RD&T as a complete department in your business. Remember what I said last week about me building an entity. So in the business itself, you would have, or you're going to have, or you have a department that deals with RD&T specifically. So RD&T, it's the research, development, and testing. So the first one, which is the research, it's the process where your idea has to be researched, your idea has to be looked into in terms of comparisons, in terms of competitions, in terms of competitors, in terms of IPs, in terms of availability of similar solutions across the globe, such that you do not reinvent the wheel, or you do not work on an innovation which somebody has already started working on. Instead, during the research process, you'll be able to establish a way to pivot your idea in case you realize somebody else is working on a similar thing, because we are people made from the same source, so we mostly think more alike if we are innovators. So innovators, most cases, they will think alike. So what do I mean by that? You would find that I'll give an example. What's a typical example that I can give? Let me give you an example with somebody who wants to sell. Say maybe you want to start a business and then you want to sell something and make money and get yourself up and running with something. Somebody would say, let me go and sell a simple thing like acha. Like acha is a spice. For those who don't know, acha is a spice that is made of mango fruits, raw mangoes, and they spice the raw mangoes, and then they let it ferment a bit, and then it comes out as a spicy, chakalaka mix that you can put on your food. So most people, when they want to start and establish themselves, they want to start small, and when they start with archer. In our country, in South Africa, they start with archer. If you don't start with archer, you would start with chickens. If you don't start with chickens, you start with scones, baking scones. So I know that it's common in our country. If someone says, I want to go into entrepreneurship, you will always look for something easy to start, something that you can easily buy the materials to establish. So archer, you don't really need a lot. You just need the raw material that you buy in a bag, and then you mix, then you start selling. Scones, you just buy flours and some few ingredients, and then you bake and sell. So most people, they start with that. So in terms of engineering solutions, just for an example, you actually, in many cases, find that there is someone who has thought of a similar thing, but they haven't started working on it. So if you happen to be that innovator who comes up with an idea, and then you start working on it, and as you research the idea, and you come up with information that the idea has already been done or implemented or worked on by some engineers, wherever across the world, it's not a train smash. It doesn't mean that your idea was lame or your idea is not special or anything like that. It happens because we were made from the same source. We think alike. Especially if you are an innovator, you'll always look for problems, and mostly problems exist in and around our lives. In and around our lives, because we are human beings and we utilize the same systems to make a living. So as you make a living on a daily basis, you will always come across common problems. And as you come across common problems, you will always come up with common solutions. And such common solutions might result in similar innovative solutions. You get what I mean? So in our country, in South Africa, a lot of people are mostly starting up with those three things that I've mentioned, and it's not a coincidence if you go down the road and then you realize, a friend of mine or my neighbor or someone else has just started on the same spot which I eyed for me to go and start selling my scones, or for me to establish my archer business at, and then that shouldn't kill your spirit. Actually, you should actually see an opportunity to pivot your idea and then come up with something better. Even though you're going to sell archer, but come up with something better than what the other person has already started. So the research part deals with that. So you go into details in terms of researching your idea and your disruptive innovation, to look out for similar ideas, to look out for possible conflict in terms of intellectual property. You look out for a reputation of something that has already been done and it's already in the market. That is the most important part of your innovation. You have to start by research, look out for similar things, and if there is none, then you have an opportunity to explore that market. Say, then I can roll this thing out and then see where it goes. And then the next one is the development part of it. Development part of it is a part where research has already been done. You got the results. You know that this thing does not exist in South Africa, in Africa, in North America, in South America, in Canada, in wherever. It doesn't exist. And maybe there is a solution which helps people to solve this particular problem, but it's not similar to mine, Then you use that data that you got from your research to start developing your idea. Remember the javelin board that I used last episode, that you will eliminate your sticky notes from those that are less that could be less contributing to the idea, and you leave out the ones that you think and feel they are stronger, they can build the idea and bring it to life. Then you go back to that javelin board, and then you use your research results to tie and align it with your javelin board's characteristics. Then you start developing your idea. The idea now is coming, it's coming into life. If it was a pregnant woman, we would say she's 6 months pregnant, or 3 months pregnant, or 5 months pregnant, So you will start to see things coming out the way you envision them, coming out the way you imagine them. And then as you develop, there is always an opportunity for you to also pivot. So you can pivot from R, which is research. You can also pivot during D when you are developing. So just because you got data and results from research doesn't mean it must stay like that. So you will always have an opportunity to pivot your idea as long as it's still under development until you implement the idea. Then the last one is T. The T is the testing part. So you've done your research, you've developed the idea, or you've developed the product, whatever that you want to bring into the market. Now you have to test your product or your solution. The testing part is the most important part, because now here you have to engage the people who are going to use your solution, who are going to use your product. You have to engage those people, make sure that they give you enough feedback for you to establish further needs that you might have missed as you do your research, So during this time as well, actually this is the most appropriate time to pivot your idea, because this is the time where you get the real gist of the matter from the people who are going to use a solution, because you are testing your solution. If you are baking, you take your cakes, you take your scones to the people and say, taste this and tell me how they taste. Then they will tell you if your recipe is good, if your recipe needs a little bit of twisting here and there, you put a lot of sugar, if it's a flying machine that you are innovating, then you will put 2 people in there, or 1 person, fly this thing, come back, land, and then tell me how it is on air or on the air as it flies. And then they will give you the results, and as it flies at this elevation or at this distance, I feel that it vibrates, and then I get this feedback, I get this noise, and then you get all that feedback from the people who are actually going to use a solution. You use that feedback to pivot your idea. Then you start to change here and there. Just like a car when it was implemented, there were people, or let's say an aeroplane when it was first invented, there were people who tested it, and then many people lost their lives during that testing process, because apparently the guys got into the plane, they flew or they took off, and then as they were some kilometers above sea level somewhere in the air, they realized, hey, there's no mechanism to land this thing. So if you want to land, you must switch it off. Then you switch it off, and then it goes down, and then as it approaches the ground, or enough distance, then they switch it on, and then it goes whoa, 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 and then as it lands, it crashes, and then as it crashes, they get injured, and then it breaks some of some of the gears, it breaks some of the mechanism that they use to build the entire thing. Now they have to redo and change the design. That is called pivoting. So pivoting, it happens most of the time at the T stage when you are testing, because that's where the gist of the matter is. That's where you're going to find, or you're going to get all the data that you need about the product that you're going to use. That is the R, D, and T. So you need to have a team per process. You need to have a team for the R. You need to have the team for the D. You need to have the team for the T. So you need to have the team that do your research. If you have a consistent team and an experienced team to do your research, then every time you give them an idea to work on in terms of research, this is the team that is going to give you the appropriate and relevant information that you need, because they know what you're working on, they know what you're doing, they know the type of work that you do, that you come up with ideas, you work on developing the ideas, you implement, commercialize the ideas, and so on and so forth. So they know exactly what to give back in terms of data. Similar to the development team, mostly it's system developers, software developers, engineers, and stuff like that. So you put such a team together, then even if it's not your employees, it's just people that it's just people that you maybe network with in your circle of people, and that they possess certain expertise that you can use in your team. Then you bring those people into your team, and then voluntarily, and then of course, if you afford to pay them, yes, you can maybe work out your contracts to pay them, but at least you've got a team that works on your development. And then the T part as well, you need to have a team with relevant, this is very important, with relevant expertise for T. Mostly this would be technicians, engineers, and subject matter experts. These are people that understands and knows this thing into details. Says that when the data comes back from the customers, they know exactly what the customer means. So you are able to pivot your product or your solution. So that's that about the R, D, and T. And then you need to now consider this, put it in such a way that it works in your, or it allows your own situation, because you work from different situations. It works well in your situation, whereby you'll be able to work according to how you have designed this RD and T process yourself. Don't do it the way I do it. Don't do it the way your friend or whoever does it. So do it the way you think it's going to work, but make sure that you have the R, the D, and the T, and then you have the teams per process as well. And those teams will be able to work together and gel well together, because they are customers to each other. These ones fit these ones fit these ones, and vice versa. So that will actually help you a big deal or a great deal when you are developing your solutions, your innovative solutions. Now, I'm going to share the types of ideation levels. We have ideation levels that you need to know where you are in terms of your development. So there's I think there's 4, 5, or 6, but they will come through as I list them. The first one is ideation. Ideation means this is another level of ideation. Now, they call it ideation. So it's another level of ideation. It's a level where your idea is right now as we speak. So it's called ideation. It means your idea is just an idea in your head, or you put it on paper. You just wrote, I want to build an aeroplane that flies without wings, So it's just an idea. You put it on paper. This aeroplane is going to solve this and this and this and that problem. That's it. That's ideation level. So if I come and ask you what level your idea is, and then you will be able to tell me, no, I'm still on ideation level. Then the next one is proof of concept. Proof of concept means your idea to build an aeroplane that doesn't have wings has moved from ideation to proof of concept. That means you have enough evidence that you put together to prove that this concept that I have can work. And then for you to have that level completed, to tick that box, to tick that proof of concept box, you need to look out for certain things depending on what you are building. So if you want to build that aeroplane that's going to fly without wings, and your aeroplane is not going to use jet fuel, and I'm just saying, just to have, for you to have an idea and a perspective of what I'm trying to put on the table. So you've got to have someone or some institution which is going to validate your idea, which is going to validate your concept. So you gotta go back to your team, especially the D and the T team, even the R. You can include them in one, and then have one of them through their qualifications, if they do, to validate your concept, so that you can have proof of this concept, that this concept will work. This concept will work. This concept is doable. This concept is feasible. Meaning, whoever who's going to validate your idea will be able to look into different aspects of what you want to do. They will do calculations. They will do all these type of things, whatever that you'll be doing. In any space where you're working from, whether you are cooking, they will be able to do all of that. And they will validate that, yeah, this is doable because you're going to use this type of material, you're going to use this type of ingredients, you're going to use this type of this and this and this and that. Then this is doable, it's feasible, and it's cost effective. So it's highly possible for you to build such a thing. Then you have validated your idea. Those are the things that you need. If there is some that I left, I'll come back and cover them in some episode. But for you to have some kind of proof of concept, you must have had a research, you must have had a team that, you must have had a team that worked on your development to validate that the research that we got, we can actually develop this thing. And then you must have had a team that worked on the testing that would be able to test this thing, So you have the proof, you have the ideation level that you passed, you have the proof of concept that you passed. You are now on another level, which is called MVP. MVP is an acronym for minimum viable product. Minimum viable product, it's basically a product that you're not really going to sell. It's a product that you use as a test. In most cases, they call it a prototype. I'm not sure if you're cooking or you're baking, or I don't know what they call it, because you can't call a cake a prototype. A cake would be a sample. Yeah, it would be a sample. So it's something like that. If you are on an MVP level, it means you are at the level where your idea has moved from ideation to proof of concept, and now the concept has been built into a mini product that you can show to people that are going to test it. That is what the testing team is going to work around. So they are going to take that MVP, which was developed by the D team, to present to the customers, to say, here is our newly built aeroplane. It doesn't have wings. We don't use jet fuel. You just get in, you start, and it flies. Please test it. Then you have a minimum viable product that people can touch and feel. People can see that this concept is working. Then it means we can take that MVP and duplicate it into many other products. Then that means you are now in production. Then you can start selling your project. Your solution. So the next one is the product trials. You have completed your MVP. Your MVP is now completed. It's been designed. It works, whatever it is. If it's a machine, it starts, it lights up some headlamps, it it vibrates, it flies, it does whatever. So whatever that you build it for, it's able to do all of those things. Then you're going to test the machine. That is a product trial. Then if someone comes and asks you what level of ideation are you in terms of developing your product, then say I'm on a product trial level, meaning you are testing. You're taking your MVP along different customers to test and give you feedback. This is the T part of the RD&T. So the testing team takes the MVP around to customers or potential customers to test your MVP. And then if it works, then they'll be able to give you, what do they call this thing? They will give you a letter that shows them, and that shows that they have an intention to buy if you start production. It's called a letter of intent. So they can give you that letter, says that you go and do mass production on this MVP, you bring the product to them, then they'll pay you. You know, that's how it works. And then from product ideation, you're going to move to pilot now. Some product don't need to be piloted. So during the product trials itself, it's being trialed and piloted at the same time. Sometimes some products you need to test and trial in a lab or a laboratory. Some products you don't need to do that. So some products you can pilot without product trials. So product trial and pilot, they are almost similar. But for engineering products, sometimes you need to product test or product trial and pilot them. Piloting simply means you put the product out in the field, wherever, whatever, and then let people use it, however they want to use it. Now you don't want feedback. They're using it like it's out there as a product that is being purchased. Now they're using it like solving the problem, that as a solution that was designed and built and developed to solve that particular problem. So pilot simply means that they are going to use that product like their normal day-to-day activity. If it's a transportation pilot, then they're going to have to jump onto that transport that you built and developed, go to work, whatever, come back as normal. And then you're going to give it a time frame that I'm going to pilot from the 1st of July to the 31st of July. From the 31st of July, we're going to stop piloting, and then we're going to put this product on sale. Whoever who's interested, because now you've tested it during the pilot, you can come and buy. So that's what pilot does. So you are on the pilot level. After piloting, then you're going to start working on selling the product, meaning you're going to have to reproduce the MVP into multiple items or multiple units. Then that level is called commercialization. Commercialization means you're going to commercialize now. You're going into the market. You're taking your product into the market. You already acquired some letter of intents from the customers during the product trials. You take those letter of intents, you work on the number that they're intending to buy, you reproduce. That is mass production. And then after production, you know where you're taking this product. Then you are commercializing now. You're taking your product into the market. Now the product is commercialized. It's now commercial. People can go out into the market and buy. If you have distributors, it means people can now order your product, and your product can be distributed across your demarcation or the area where you'll be working with it according to your projections or whatever that is. So that's simply how it works. After commercializations, then you know that now I'm rolling out. So the final stage of your innovative idea is rollout. Rollout means now it's working, people are buying it, it's working in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world. It's been rolled out, people are using it. Now it's fully commercialized, it's rolled out, it's done. So you're going to decide as an innovator, are you going to sell it, or are you going to keep it as your daily business, where it's going to give you cash flow? It's going to, then you start making a living out of that business. Now it becomes a fully fledged business. Remember, you have the RD&T team. That team is still there. They're still there because there's things called after sales. So some people will buy and bring back some feedback that you never got during the testing phase. So the RD&T team will always be there to assist with such situations should they come up during the rollout process. So that's basically how your idea is going to work. Your idea is going to make you money. Your idea is going to be commercialized, and so on and so forth. So you know different types of ideation levels. You know different types of processes that your idea has to go through in terms of RD&T, and the teams that needs to be involved, their qualifications and everything. And then in closing, I want to share the last part of your business. Remember, now this is commercialized. It has become a fully fledged business, meaning you're going to have to market the business. So you need a marketing team. Marketing team is going to work on advertising, branding, and everything else around awareness of the product in the market. So for people to know that there is an aeroplane that flies without wings out there, somebody has to market it. Advertisement, radio, TV, social media, whatever you call it, that's your marketing team. So you're going to need that marketing team to work on your marketing. And then they know what marketing entails. You have to come up with a marketing strategy. You have to come up with marketing campaigns. You have to bring in design teams to design your flyers, design your adverts and stuff like that. So it's a whole lot of things that are happening in the department on its own. And then you have the sales department that's going to now sell. Remember, now you are marketing the product. Somebody's going to come to want to buy. So once somebody comes to knock on the doors to buy, then you've started sales. So you need a team that's going to work on your sales. So you need to come up with, or you need to put together a sales department. Sales department is completely going to work on sales. You sell, you buy, your after sales, your follow-up sales, and everything else. And these guys, they're going to have to work hand in hand with the marketing team, and you have to now establish a logistic team as well. So you have the sales team in the middle, then the marketing team markets the product, the sales team sells, the logistic team distributes the product. So you're gonna have to bring in the logistic team that's gonna work on distributing your products, make sure that the products out there and working. People are able to get the products after orders. They are able to get them in time. They are able to access the product quicker and easier. So that would be your logistic team. Some might give it another name, but logistic makes more sense than, in this instance, it makes more sense than other complicated names. So that's that about your product or your disruptive innovative ideas. That's how it's going. That's the process that is going to have to go through until you see it happening, until you see it happening, until you see it making money for you, until you see your idea come into reality and sort of dream come true. So in closing, I'm just going to share your support site for today, which you need to visit on a weekly, because I think they update new calls on a weekly, or new support programs on a weekly. It's called VC4A. VC4A, they list every available support program across the globe. You have support programs from Argentina, from USA, from Canada, from Africa, from Kenya, from South Africa, from Malawi, from Zimbabwe, from Botswana, from China, from Singapore. You get them on VC4A. VC4A, you just go on to vc4a.com. I think it will pop up, and then you save that on your mobile device, so your laptop, and then every week you go into VC4A. There will be a list of programs available. Then they will show which countries are participating on this particular program, and then you'll be able to go in and apply, and then likewise do as such, and then you will be able to see your idea being supported, your idea growing, your idea seeing day of light, and then light of day. Yeah. So how do you spell VC4A? Don't be confused. It's V for Violet, C for Charlie, 4, it's a numeric number 4, 1 2 3 4. So it's VC4A, A for Adam. So it's V for Violet, C for Charlie, 4, number 4, and A for Adam. VC4A. numeric number 4 and A. So it's VC4A. You can say VC4A.com. Yeah, and then you'll be able to find all that information available. And lastly, I've seen a call. I've seen a call on. Where did I see this call? I've seen a call. This is what I wanted to share last week, but I didn't want to confuse people. But I feel I can confuse you now. Just a little bit. I've seen a call on Trevor Noah's foundation. Go to Trevor Noah Foundation website, Trevor Noah Foundation. On that website, you'll be able to see a call where they are inviting non-profit organizations. If you run a non-profit organization and you have an innovative idea that is gonna help, I think, around teaching children and any innovative. I see a lot of people are coming up with innovative ideas around education or something like that. Go to Trevor Noah Foundation, and there's a call that is open. And they want innovators who can come up with innovative ideas for education-related disruptive innovation ideas. They're looking for you. Go and apply, and they will give you funds to build your ideas. And you're going to go through the ideation processes that I've given you, the RD&T until commercialization. And that Trevor Noah Foundation will assist you to build that. Go and look out for that, and then you'll thank me later. So that's it for today, and I think I'll see you next week. Next week.